There are major indications that this hurricane season isn't over yet. There are currently 2 tropical waves in the Atlantic. One of those has a high chance of becoming our next tropical depression. The biggest concern though is with a system that hasn't even developed yet, but could develop as we move into the early stages of November. Everyone in the Caribbean needs to be paying attention to this. I'm meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, and we talk and track all things weather on this channel. I'm growing increasingly concerned about a storm that could develop in the Caribbean over the first few days of November. We're going to look at everything that I'm looking at coming up in a couple of minutes. I want to start with the more imminent threat, though, in the North Atlantic, Bermuda. This is a heads up for you in the short term. Here is the disturbance in the subtropical Atlantic. This one is near Bermuda and has a high chance of becoming our next tropical depression. Closer look with this one. This is the visible satellite imagery, GO16, the high res. You get a new scan every minute. Beautiful satellite presentation here, and you see some of the thunderstorms trying to fire around the center. We've not seen this entity maintain those thunderstorms quite yet. Once it does, it will get that tropical depression classification. Here is the island of Bermuda. There's St. George's. And again, we're going to be watching that closely because tonight and into Monday, tropical storm conditions are going to be possible on the island of Bermuda. If you're enjoying this video, please hit that thumbs up. It would help me out a lot. It is important to note that there is absolutely nothing going on, tropically speaking anyway, in the Caribbean. It's important to know that. But the area that I am most concerned with long term is in the Caribbean as we get to the first few days or first week of November. And that is all because of a large-scale pattern change coming into the Atlantic Basin. There is a lot going on this map, but I want you to focus on where the green color is. That represents rising motion in this computer forecast. And note where it is right now, out over the Indian Ocean. It's not a coincidence. A tropical system just made landfall there earlier today. The brown represents where the atmosphere is not that conducive for development. So watch what happens as we move into the last couple of days of October. You see that green and blue representing an anomalous pattern of rising motion out over South America and the Southern Caribbean. And then that expands and gets even deeper, the anomaly here, as we move into the first week of November. And that is all because of the Madden-Julian oscillation. I won't get into it specifically what it is in this video, but just know that when it's in phase, it can enhance tropical development. As we get into the first week of November, it's going to be in phase. I preach this all the time on this channel. When you're looking at computer models, it's not just about the what it's showing, it's the why. You need to know some of the background information. I showed you the background, so we would expect just by seeing what I just showed you that, okay, we're going to look into this area for the potential for something to get going during that time period. Now I'm going to show you the ensembles. Again, each little circle that pops up here represents a member of the European ensemble. Fast forwarding here through October 30th. There's not much going on really anywhere in the Caribbean. Good news. Watch though, as we move forward in time, you're starting to see a few more circles pop up indicating that we have members of the European ensemble hinting at tropical development here. We're now out towards November 2nd and 3rd. The darker the color, at least the more red they become, the stronger that member wants to make that storm. And you see through from Jamaica really into Central America. Again, the potential for something is going to be there as we move deeper into the first week of November. So if one ensemble or one model is showing it, then you have to go to another one to just inspect to see if it's an outlier or not. This is now the GFS ensemble, and I know the GFS has been crazy this year. It's been crazy bad. One of its biases is to make a really strong storm in the Caribbean or Gulf of Mexico, but several of its members put some development here in the Eastern Caribbean, south of Puerto Rico, north of South America. This is on the 30th of October, so a little bit ahead of the European, but you clearly see it really wants development in the Caribbean or the Southwest Atlantic. You see a bunch of different circles there, indicating that a lot of the GFS ensemble members are hinting at and really suggesting that we are going to have development in the tropics, in the Caribbean specifically, as we move through the first week of November. Again, this is going to be on November 5th and 6th, at least in the GFS representation of what's going on. To kind of remove the noise of all those little circles or spaghettios all on your screen, I want to show you the probability forecast. This is still from the European model, which I showed you first, And the darker the color, the higher the probability for tropical development. I have this threshold set at a tropical depression. So you're seeing there about a 40% shot this model is giving for a tropical depression to develop through the period of November 4th. That's the time frame that this particular model stops at. So again, I want to be clear, there is nothing developing in the Caribbean right now and in the short term. This is as we get into the first week of November, the pattern at least becomes conducive, which could lead the potential for some tropical development during that first week or so of November. So again, we're going to watch that closely for our friends in the Caribbean. Of course, in the short term, Bermuda is up for the potential for tropical storm conditions from that entity that we talked about earlier in this video. Going to keep tabs on everything as we continue to track things through this hurricane season, which officially runs through the month of November. If you like what you saw, I would love your support. Please hit the like button. We would love to have you on board as we track the weather together. Please hit that subscribe button, and we will catch you next time.